Okay, we're going to create a simple player and then add some functionality to it as we go along. We're going to start off by creating stop, play, go to and stop. Just go to the beginning and stop, and go to and play. Just go to the beginning and play buttons. Just test this and show you what. So this is how it works. Plays on a loop. You can stop it at any point. If you go to and stop the beginning, it takes it back to the beginning of the animation. If I continue playing it, if I press go to and play, it just jumps back to the beginning and continues playing. So that's basically what we're going to create. Again, we're not going to worry about what the assets look like, what the buttons look like. It's just about the functionality. The first thing is to create a blank movie. So if you go to File and New, make sure it's ActionScript 3, stick with all the default settings. So we have our empty movie, double click on the hand to maximise. So basically we're going to open up the panels again that we need. So if we go to Window and Actions or press F9, that'll open the Actions panel. Bring that in. We also need the code, well actually we won't open the code snippets at the moment because we're not going to use those straight away. So the first thing, like last time, is to create the assets. So we have again a button asset. So we can create a graphic for that. So if you use the shape tool, we need a colour. Drag out a rectangle. That's fine. Select. I created a white rectangle by mistake. Select it. Press F8. That brings up the convert to symbol dialog box. Call it button. Make sure the type is set to button, registration in the middle. Okay, that's stored in the library now. So we need 4 copies of that. Drag them in, arrange them. Again, what Flash does is it displays these guidelines, so that means you can easily align them. See the guideline popping up there, but don't. It doesn't really matter as long as they're over on the left hand side of the screen. So what we're going to do this time is we need to make it clear which button does what. So to do that, using the text tool, choose a different colour, and we need the play button. Okay, so we've created a block of text. If we place that over the button, it becomes visible. I'm just going to copy that 3 times, and then we can modify the text within it in a minute. One more there somewhere, I think. There we go. So we'll play at the top, then stop. I'm using very literal names for these, so go to and stop. Now the one in brackets refers to frame 1. Alright, and that is actually how the script, the command appears in ActionScript. So it's quite good to just have that on the button, and we know exactly that's basically what the action is that's called when we press the button. I'll copy that actually. So you'll find as you get used to using, most software, there's little shortcuts you can do. So I've just copied that and then just change that to play. Alright, so that's the button set up. So now we need a simple animation. So we'll create another layer for that. Again, we'll name our layer. So that's our asset. This is our assets layer. I'm going to put the animation on a separate layer. Okay, and so create a simple animation again. Just create a simple shape. We need a colour so we can see it. Choose a different colour, different shape. This time, turn that into a movie clip again. Press F8. I'll stick to the same way of doing that. So press F8. We'll call this animation. Change the type to movie clip. Okay, so Basically we'll create an animation on the main timeline here. If we go to frame 50, press F5 to extend that keyframe to frame 50, right click on that block and select Create Motion Tween, move the needle to the end, drag our shape, manipulate the motion path, press enter, you see our animation plays. You see at the moment our buttons are only on the first frame here, so we need to extend those to frame 50 so they're constantly visible. Okay, so if we test that, if we press play now, we'll see that the animation plays and buttons are visible, so that's all set up on the stage fine. Just refer back to my original. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to create a third layer and call it script. That's where we're going to put the action script just to keep everything neatly organised. Tends to be convention to always put the script layer at the top of the layer stack, so script at the top there. And one final thing is we need to give our buttons instance names. So if I click on property here, if I click on button 1, so again this is an important thing to remember, that each instance needs a different unique name if it's, if the action script is going to be able to use it properly. So we'll call this BTN for button 1. Call stop. Actually, let me check the naming I used. Sorry, no, I use more literal names than that, which is better. Not button BTN1. It's play BTN. Stop is, believe it or not, stop BTN. And then go to and stop. When you're selecting these, make sure you don't select the text by accident. Text is a blue outline. The movie clip is a paler blue outline. You'll be able to tell you've selected the movie clip. In the properties here, it will say button there. Yeah. So I'm using exactly the same name as it is on the button, apart from the one in brackets. So go to and stop BTN on the end. In fact, with instance names as well, you can use copy and paste, particularly when you're doing, something fairly repetitive. Just speeds up the workflow. So we'll call that's go to and play. Right, let me check my naming here. Yep, so that all matches up, so that's fine. So we've got all the instance names set up. Now everything's in place. Now we need to place the script on the script layer here. So if I go back to my the one I prepared earlier here, now this is actually I've pre-written this, so I'm just going to copy the first block across. Okay, and we'll just look at this one block, and then really the following blocks are basically the same structure with slight alterations. So the play button, so this refers to the play button. Now all this script just sits on this frame here, and because we've given each button an instance name, as long as we name the button that we're referring to, the script can trigger the command when we click on that button. So we called that play button. We've addressed it here, play BTN. We've got the event listener, which listens for a mouse click. We've told it to listen to a mouse. It's called an event, a mouse event. The type of mouse event is a click. When we click on that the play button, it's going to play this function, which we've given a name here on play click. Again, literal names. This is the function. Okay, it's going to play this function, and inside the function we've put the action, which is simple action, which is to play the animation. Yeah. So that's how that's structured. Now with the stop action, we can actually copy this piece of code, paste that in, and we can just change sections of that. So we can change it to the stop button. We're addressing the stop button. Let me just check my naming in here. Yeah, so again, literal names. We've got on play click here. Change that to on stop click. Alright, and on stop click here. So all we're doing is changing the name of the function and the name of the object or button that we're referring to. And then in here we just have the stop action. Change that to stop. So if we test that now, we'll be able to play and stop the animation. I think everything else is in place. Again, sometimes you forget to include things, and you only know whether something works until you test it. So I'm going to press Control and Enter to test it. Now, what I've done is I've tested it and it hasn't worked. Now, I'd rather leave these mistakes in because they're easy to make. And basically what I've done is when I've named the buttons here, you see here it says what happens if there's an error. It puts up compiler errors here. Now the error is it can't find the button that's referred to. So I've referred to something called play button here. And this is easily done all the time. You know, you forget that you've used a capital. So if we look at the script here, now you see I've referred to play BTM with a lowercase p in the script here. Now if I go back and check the instance name, I've used an uppercase P. So you can easily make mistakes like that all the time. So what I'll do is I'll just change the name of the button to match the script. So it's a problem with the stop button as well. So it's really important that, you know, often things don't work perfectly straight away. The important thing is to be able to what's basically called debugging, is to look at the errors and be able to just work out where you've gone wrong. Okay, so if we test that again now, after I've said all that, I'm hoping it will work now. So there are no compiler errors, so I can close that. So if I press stop, it stops. If I press play, it plays. So it solved that problem. So it's a good little example of how, you know, little problem solving, debugging checks there that you know, anyone who's creating any kind of authoring, any kind of interactive media like this has to do all the time. So now we've got the final two buttons. So again, I think just to illustrate that these blocks of code are very, very similar, I'm going to paste in another block here, and we've got our go to and stop button here. I'm going to actually copy that name again to just speed things up. I'm going to paste that onto here. Okay, go to stop button. So on go to stop click, we'll call it. So that's the name of our function. That's the new name of our function. Again, quick copy and paste for the function name. And we've got a different command in here. I'm going to actually type this in. Again, we've used code snippets before. We can use code snippets. I think it's also good to have a go at typing bits in as well. So that's our command, go to and stop. And we put the 1 in there. Do you remember the 1 in the bracket that refers to frame 1? So, hopefully, I will check my naming. Yeah, that should be fine. I'll just check. The important thing is this name here, that this name matches the name I gave to the button. So just check it does. It does because I copied and pasted it. So that's a sure way of making sure that they match. So if we quick test again, it's good to always test as you go along. If I press go to and stop, it jumps back to frame 1, so that's working fine. And then finally we've got our go to and play, so we can copy this section, and we're just changing from stop to play. So again, that's a simple alteration of the block above. And then go to and play. Alright, so we'll test that again. Go to play, yeah, and that jumps back to frame 1. But instead of going to and stopping at frame 1 like this button, if I let it continue playing, it goes to and goes to frame 1 and continues playing from frame 1. Okay, so we've got a simple player there. Now it might look very simple, you know, it's simple in terms of visually here, but actually functionally, a really useful thing. You can insert any of your animations in here and be able to control the playback of them. Now, it wouldn't take